F1 News: Toto Wolff hits out at Formula One stars but excludes Kimi Raikkonen, 39, was released from Ferrari as they opted for a youthful approach for 2019 with the signing of Charles Leclerc. But the Finn will remain in motorsport's premier competition after signing a deal with Sauber. Mercedes boss Wolff admitted he was sad to see Raikkonen lose a leading seat, despite the threat he posed to Lewis Hamilton. And the Silver Arrows chief took a sly dig at the new generation of drivers when discussing the 2007 world champion. "I think it changes a lot for F1 that Kimi is not in Ferrari anymore in a car that is able to win races," said Wolff. "He is a formidable character. He is one of the very few people in this day and age, with social media and the ego getting out of control, that stays true to himself. He has his values and stays true to his values, and he is authentic. That is what the fans love. So Kimi not in a Ferrari is a blow for all of us. But at least he is not out of it completely. He is in Sauber and it is shame that, with Fernando Alonso going completely and Kimi changing from Ferrari to Sauber, we are losing two unbelievable personalities in some way. Kimi and Ferrari as a combination was attractive." Wolff also explained why Sauber is a perfect fit for Raikkonen. "Kimi says he is coming to enjoy things with Sauber, but the Sauber proved to be a best of the rest car," added Wolff. "It is also just 40 minutes away from home, so he is able to stay at home." "I think with Fred Vasseur, team boss, they have a racers group that is coming together, and a strong relationship with Ferrari, so why would he not continue to do what he enjoys doing? We were too much driven about what should he do, should he leave F1 because it is not a winning car anymore? But we are all here to be happy and we are all here to enjoy ourselves, and if driving is something that he truly enjoys then he is right to follow his passion." Next news: Perez on Ocon battle. Sergio Perez has claimed that he is a better driver than Esteban Ocon, despite being out-qualified by him for most of the season. Ocon out-qualified Perez 16 times in 2018, but it was the Mexican who finished 12 points ahead in the Drivers' Championship in 8th. The average time between the pair was 0.448s in favor of Ocon, and Perez admitted he had the beating of him in qualifying. "I think in qualifying he probably had the upper hand, although the gap between us in qualifying is less than a tenth. He was more often in front in quali than myself, but I think the gap in the race is much bigger than qualifying. In the race I thought I did the bigger difference, always on the pace. The pace was a bit stronger in the race," added the Mexican. "We were very close again, but I think he was just a little bit better in qualifying and I was quite a bit better in the race." Perez will team up with Lance Stroll at Force India after Lawrence Stroll bought the constructors with the consortium before rebranding as Racing Point. Meanwhile, Ocon will drop down to being Mercedes' reserve driver after Robert Kubica and George Russell formed Williams' lineup, leaving him without a drive for 2019. Next news: Perez, "I'm better at racing than Ocon." Sergio Perez claims that while Esteban Ocon had the beating of him in qualifying, he was the superior race driver throughout the 2018 season. Out of the 21 races, Ocon out-qualified Perez 16 times, with the average gap at the end of the year reading 0.448s in favor of the Mercedes junior driver. However, Perez finished 12 points ahead of his teammate in the drivers' standings, with the Mexican securing 8th place in the Drivers' Championship. Speaking via F1 Today, Perez said, "I think in qualifying he probably had the upper hand, although the gap between us in qualifying is less than a tenth. He was more often in front in quali than myself." but I think the gap in the race is much bigger than qualifying. In the race I thought I did the bigger difference, always on the pace. The pace was a bit stronger in the race. We were very close again, but I think he was just a little bit better in qualifying and I was quite a bit better in the race. Perez will have a new teammate for 2019 in the form of young Canadian Lance Stroll, whose father Lawrence Stroll led a consortium which purchased the bankrupt Force India team in August, before rebranding them as Racing Point. Ocon meanwhile, was left without a drive despite talk of him replacing Stroll at Williams for 2019, with Robert Kubica and George Russell ultimately forming their lineup. Next news: Verstappen, the car won the titles, not Hamilton. Red Bull's Max Verstappen has suggested a host of drivers on the grid could match Lewis Hamilton's achievements if they were in his car. Hamilton has been crowned world champion in 4 of the last 5 seasons, closing in on many statistical milestones set by the great Michael Schumacher in the process. Only Schumacher stands ahead of Hamilton in terms of world titles, 7-5, and Grand Prix victories, 91-73. Hamilton has dominated the V6 hybrid era, winning 51 of the 100 races to have taken place to date. Verstappen has made a huge impact since debuting in 2015, but the Dutchman has just 5 race wins to his name, largely down to Renault's power deficit. With Red Bull hoping a switch to Honda can bridge the gap, Verstappen suggested Hamilton's career might not have been as impressive if machinery had been equal in recent years. Speaking to Formula One, he said, "I think Sebastian Vettel, Fernando Alonso, Daniel Ricciardo and I could just as easily be champion with such a car." When I see onboard images, I think Mercedes has not even gone full throttle in many races. Mercedes attempted to acquire Verstappen in 2017, having previously seen him sign with Red Bull's junior program, turning the Silver Arrows down in the process. Verstappen stated that he had no interest in racing alongside the likes of Hamilton and Vettel currently, and instead wanted to remain faithful to Red Bull. "When I think of my own career, it is not convenient to sit next to Hamilton or Vettel right now. Although I would absolutely do it if I had no other choice. I believe that with Red Bull I can also become champion, as long as we have the right package together." Thank you for watching the video. Be sure to share and subscribe to your channel to get the latest sports news around the world. Wished health and success. Goodbye.